Hi everyone, my name is Arsentii and I am a neuroscience and machine learning enthusiast and also an internship student at the Bogomolets Institute of Physiology. I'm presenting a talk on the comparative analysis of information theory-based statistical methods and transformer-based machine learning techniques for text classification. I will start with the importance of text mining and classification in science, followed by a particular challenge description and explanation of two methods that we use to solve classification problem. Then we will dive deeper in the analysis of the statistical method and its comparison to the transformer-based method. Finally, I will propose an idea on how to use discussed methods in a pipeline. So let's start. There are more and more papers produced every year, and it becomes difficult to process manually this corpus of text to extract relevant information. Drug-induced liver injury is a clinically significant condition and is one of the reasons of drug registration failures. For now, scientific literature is the primary source of information for DILI according to FDA. Therefore, it would be very beneficial to automate the process of information extraction from the documents. This could potentially save hundreds of working hours and speed up the drug discovery process. Thus, we took part in CAMDA challenge that provides biomedical publications curated by FDA experts on DILI in order to build the classification tool. CAMDA committee and FDA provided positive reference dataset with approximately 14,000 DILI-related papers, and the same amount of examples for the negative reference. Validation dataset had the same structure as the initial dataset. We also had an additional set with 2,000 entries which contained only a few sentences as an abstract and no titles. On the figure on the right, one can see the distribution of the most frequent words in each dataset. As one can see, training and validation datasets have very similar distributions. But, as one can assume, the classes DILI and not DILI are unbalanced in real world. By unbalanced, I mean that the number of concepts that determine not DILI class is much larger than the number of concepts that determine DILI class. This can be seen visually, for example, on the left panel of the figure. And for better analysis of our models, we tested them on other datasets. IMDB reviews datasets consisting of 25,000 positive and the same amount of negative reviews. We used this dataset primarily to test how our methods perform on balanced datasets. The comparison of distribution of the most frequent words in the classes could help understand this better. From the figure, one can see that for DILI dataset, distributions for two classes are rather different, and for the IMDB dataset, they are nearly the same. Also, we tested our statistical model on the corpus of articles related to longevity research in order to check the precision of the model. Our statistical information theory-based method consists of calculating the PMI, point-wise mutual information, and TF-IDF, term frequency inverse document frequency. From equation 1, we can see that PMI is meant to account for words that are very frequent inside class examples. The more frequent word inside the class and the less frequent the same word outside the class, the greater PMI we will have for the word in that class. In equation 2, we just normalized PMI to get values from -1 to 1, which means that if class and word occurred together only, and PMI would equal to 1. In order to calculate TF-IDF, we have to multiply together term frequency and inverse document frequency. Term frequency is the number of times a given word occurs in the text, whereas an inverse document frequency is the inverse of the number of documents in which a word occurs divided by the total number of documents. Intuitively, PMI accounts for the importance of the word in the given class if the word is frequent, and TF-IDF mostly prefers words that are rare in the corpus but are very frequent in some particular documents. Therefore, TF-IDF determines importance of the word for the particular document. In order to make an inference about new document, we divide document into sentences, tokenize these sentences, then we remove frequent English words and punctuation, and after that we calculate for each class a function f at the point of this class, which is a sum of TF-IDF times normalized PMI for each word in the document. Then we make an inference simply by choosing the class based on the highest value of the function f. As our second approach to this problem, we use transformer-based architectures. Transformers are deep neural networks that utilize the idea of self-attention. It means that for each token in the document, we try to understand how it depends on all other tokens in the document. This is implemented through the idea of generating keys, queries, and values matrices for each document. By multiplying queries by keys, we select particular keys that are relevant, and when we selected the keys, we then multiply them by values, therefore selecting some values by the keys. All of this is done in parallel by generating different weight matrices that convert input matrix to keys, queries, and values. We decided to test two types of pre-trained models, SciBERT and Longformer. Both of these models were pre-trained on the same corpus of 1 million papers from Semantic Scholar. The main difference is the number of tokens that can be used as an input to the model. 512 tokens is the standard limit for BERT models, but we noticed that our dataset contains many examples that consist from more than 512 tokens. Thus, it seemed reasonable to us to compare how truncation of documents after some token will affect the result. Also, an important difference between these transformers is that Longformer utilizes sliding window attention, when only a limited number of token embeddings are selected for attention. On initial dataset, PTIC showed results that are comparable to the transformer performance, but at the same time, PTIC works much faster than transformers. Longformer showed the best results. Ability to utilize sequences longer than 512 was beneficial for given initial dataset where more than 10% of abstracts had this length. Results for the validation dataset are very similar to the initial dataset because datasets have very similar structure. Both consists of title and abstract for each entry, the same distribution of the most frequent words. But for the additional dataset, we got rather different results when compared to the initial set. PTIC showed worse results because additional dataset consists only of short documents, but PTIC performs better when the documents are large simply because it considers documents as a bag of words. It means that it does not account for the context. We decided to check how performance of PTIC depends on the dictionary size. For the DILI dataset, a recall is changing only slightly with the dictionary size, which means we do not need many words to classify something as DILI. This is in contrary to the IMDB dataset. In the first case, we have two classes that are not balanced by the significance of words in them, DILI and everything except DILI. There are words that guarantee something is DILI related, but there are no words that guarantee the same for everything except DILI class. The difference between two datasets can be visually seen on this figure. We can see that for DILI dataset, distributions of the top 100 most frequent words are quite different for the two classes, whereas these distributions look the same for the IMDB dataset. Actually, if we sum all word counts inside each class and take the ratio between two classes in each dataset, we will see that the difference is much larger for DILI dataset than for IMDB dataset. After examining initial dataset results, we noticed that in some cases, methods strongly associated some DILI articles with negative reference class. Later, FDA expert confirmed that due to technical error, a very small percentage of articles were wrongly added to positive reference set. It inspired us to check the robustness of PTIC to incorrectly labeled examples. From the figure we can see that our method is very robust. Only after replacing 28% of examples with incorrect labels, method starts showing accuracy less than 90%. These results are quite promising and we would like to further investigate in the future, especially if we are able to obtain true classes for validation and additional datasets. PTIC, in comparison with Transformer, does not encode syntactic information and semantic information, simply because it considers each document as the bag of words, which leads to worse performance on all documents that are very short. But our statistical method demonstrates extra low training and inference time, which with easier interpretation of results makes it a good choice for a first step analysis of the corpus of texts. If the task is to gather all sentences that are relevant for the topic from the corpus of documents, then we propose to use two methods in a pipeline. First, one should apply PTIC on the corpus of documents in order to select documents related to the topic. Then we propose to divide selected documents into sentences. Next, we classify these sentences using Transformer model. After that, we select the relevant sentences. Then we perform the relevant sentences on which we can perform other downstream processing, such as building graphs, name entity recognition, etc. And conclusions. PTIC is an extremely fast method that accounts for importance of the words inside class and inside documents that is under consideration. Transformers are slow, but could give significantly better results on short documents when compared to methods that does not account for context. We showed that in both cases it is possible to obtain reliable results, which makes it possible to significantly improve the automation of DILI text classification. This work was supervised by Alina Frolova from Institute of Molecular Biology and Genetics and jointly performed by me, Igor Stepanov, and Stanislav Zubenko.